Sorry to disappoint you, but that is not Jake Johnson from New Girl. You're watching Beyond the Trailers review of Inside Llewyn Davis.
What'd you say you played?
Folk songs.
Folk songs. Solo act?
No, I had a partner. Threw himself off the George Washington Bridge.
George Washington Bridge? You throw yourself off the Brooklyn Bridge, traditionally. George Washington Bridge. Who does that?
Mel, there was no advance on my solo record. There's gotta be some royalty. For Christ's sake, it's cold out. I don't even have a winter coat.
You're kidding me.
Hey, this kid. No.
Thanks to his adorable turn on New Girl, Jake Johnson has become an unlikely yet utterly charming heartthrob to millions of viewers. Heck, I paid $10 to watch Drinking Buddies on demand, and well, I can't be angry with this guy. But this guy, Oscar Isaac, audiences don't know who he is. Yet important people in critic circles do, as the Juilliard grad has appeared in a number of indie films and the very prestigious Shakespeare in the Park. So when you pair Isaac with critical darling Carey Mulligan, surprise, surprise, you win the Grand Prix at this year's Cannes Film Festival. Now, the Grand Prix isn't that hot an award. It's second place, basically. But it's still an award, and it was previously awarded to flicks like The Sweet Hereafter, Old Boy, and Broken Flowers. And this is an important feather in the Coen Brothers' cap, as they're still in the midst of trying to stage a comeback. Sure, True Grit was heralded far and wide, but it didn't win a single one of its 10 Oscar nominations. Turns out the Coen Brothers have more misses than hits these days, and definitely have been unable to recapture their legendary streak back in the 80s and 90s, when they made Raising Arizona, Barton Fink, Fargo, and The Big Lebowski. You'll notice a common comedic thread there, yet these days the Coens seem to be going back to their more dour origin, 1984's Blood Simple. And Inside Llewyn Davis doesn't seem to feature a lot of laughs either, but instead, folk singing? Christopher Guest tried to tackle the same subject matter back in 2003 with comedy, yet A Mighty Wind only grossed about $19 million worldwide. Robert Altman's A Prairie Home Companion did similar business. But music has worked for the Coen Brothers before with Oh Brother Where Art Thou, and Inside Llewyn Davis also hopes to see its soundtrack take on a life of its own. You can hear Isaac singing along with Mulligan, Justin Timberlake, and Adam Driver from HBO's Girls. Interestingly, Driver's Girls co-star Alex Karpovsky also appears here. But no Jake Johnson? Really? Damn. Wow, is this a depressing movie? I mean, seriously, if you are at all considering a job in the entertainment industry, or any difficult industry, but particularly entertainment, because I feel that's a uniquely difficult field to get a foothold in, don't see this film. And I know some of you won't be able to resist because it's a Coen Brothers movie, but I'm warning you, it's just horribly depressing, and I feel unfairly so. Because the lead character, Llewyn Davis, sure, he's the victim of obstacles outside of his control, but a lot of his failure is his own doing in terms of bad career choices and also just a bad attitude. So that in and of itself is frustrating. But there were two quotes in the film that I think were interestingly applicable to the film itself. The first was that there's an agent, they both come from this agent who Llewyn Davis goes to talk to. And the first is that he tells Llewyn Davis, I'm sorry, but you're just not a lead singer or frontman material. And sadly, in my opinion at least, I feel Oscar Isaac is not leading man material as an actor. For this kind of difficult, unsympathetic character, and also a story that's just a character study that has no real arc, even no real character arc and no strong storyline, you need an actor who's incredibly charismatic that you can just basically read the phone book, which is a popular saying. And Oscar Isaac just isn't that. The second quote is that he listens to Llewyn Davis sing, and at the end he says, I just don't see a lot of money here. And of course he's referring to the fact that he doesn't think that, no matter the quality of the songs, because that quality and talent is always debatable. But this agent was saying, I don't think I can make any money off of your work. And I felt that any studio executive watching this movie would feel the same way, which might be why, even though this is a Coen Brothers movie, it's being distributed by CBS Films. They're, of course, a very small distributor who's still, trying to make a name for themselves. And you would think a Coen Brothers movie could get a better distributor, a better indie distributor. But of course, the indie market is so competitive right now, and I feel this film isn't competitive, that it goes to CBS Films because CBS just wants the cachet of releasing a Coen Brothers movie. Now, I think some people will probably argue, well, you know what? This is art, and the Coen Brothers have every right to make a piece of art that isn't commercial. And that's totally true. Now, I think we could stay here for a long time and argue the artistic merits of the film. I feel it's flawed even in that regard, because I think that it has no character arc, like I said, and I think, I never understand why the Coen Brothers want to tell this story. It's a far cry from one of their earlier character studies like Barton Fink. But if you go even beyond that, I think that as artists, though, if we're going to talk about the Coen Brothers as artists, I feel they really lost their way. They're as lost as Llewyn Davis in this movie. And also A Serious Man, which I feel this film is very similar to. It's like the folk the folk singer version of that movie. So if you didn't enjoy A Serious Man, you are not going to enjoy this film at all. But if you did, you might disagree with me. But anyway, the Coen Brothers and their streak of successful films had a wonderful comedic edge to them. And even though their stories back then were even meandering, and sometimes you didn't really quite understand the journey you took, the journey itself was interesting. And there were these really memorable moments and characters the Coen Brothers created. But for some reason, they've decided to continue to tell meandering stories, but drop their comedic edge. And they haven't found a strong dramatic voice to replace it with. So if you're not going to have a strong through line in terms of story, you have to have either a very strong dramatic voice or a strong comedic voice. And the Coen Brothers don't have any of this. So it's disappointing to me to see some filmmakers that I thought were so strong for so long. I guess I can respect them wanting to change things up, but it's not working. And I don't quite, and they're not, and where I think I can undoubtedly say that I think they're failing is that they're not communicating to me what their new goals are as artists. And so that was my big problem with this film. But I'd be interested to know what you think of it. Have you seen it? Did you like it? What do you think that I might have missed? And what do you think of how the Coen Brothers are changing as filmmakers? Do you want to see where they continue to go? I think they're not going anywhere. I think they're kind of stuck in a hamster wheel with this and A Serious Man. But with art, it's a matter of opinion because the Coen Brothers have taken themselves off of the box office and I think awards board to a large degree with this film. So write your thoughts down below. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you check out these other episodes right now.